Before we start, I just want to say thank you for 10 subscribers. I know it's a small number in the great scheme of YouTube, but honestly it feels incredible to me. The comments on the last video really gave me motivation boost, and I'm even more addicted and excited to keep playing Warframe and making these videos. So yeah, thank you seriously. Now let's talk about Styanax. Coming back to Warframe is always a dangerous idea, because at first it feels amazing. You log in, you remember the movement, you remember the sound of enemies getting erased, you remember why you spent hundreds, or in my case way too many hours inside this game. And then, in about 5 minutes later, Warframe does what Warframe always does. It opens the entire universe on your screen and says, "Good luck, idiot." There are always quests, relics, syndicates, weapons, incarnons, arcanes, builds, resources, primes, standing, farms, events, and about 12 different systems I probably already forgot. So when I came back, I expected to get overwhelmed immediately, but instead I opened my arsenal and realized something. I already had Styanax. And I don't mean I planned this comeback around him. I mean he was literally just sitting there, like a Greek tax collector waiting for me to finally notice him. So I took him to Hydron, started leveling, and somewhere between throwing spears at people and figuring out why nobody else is in my squad, Warframe kind of clicked again. So the hardest part about returning to Warframe is not that the game is complicated. It is complicated, obviously. The hard part is that Warframe makes you feel like you're behind on everything. And that feeling is dangerous, because the second you start playing just to catch up, the game stops being a game and turns into a second job. And that's exactly how I burned out before. You start with one simple goal, and 3 hours later you're on wiki reading about a resource that only drops on specific node during a specific emotional state of the moon. So this time I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to come back with one simple rule. Don't chase everything. Chase one thing that makes this game fun again. And right now that thing is Styanax. The first thing that got me was obviously the theme. Styanax has that Greek ancient spear and shield warrior identity. The Warframe wiki even points out that he's inspired by Greek soldiers, with more of a peltas javeliner angle than just a basic hoplite. In his shield, Taros is also likely named after the Greek word for bravery, and that actually makes sense when you play him, because he doesn't feel like a ninja, he feels like a soldier who got lost in space anime, and I mean that as a compliment. When I first saw him in trailers or clips, I kind of expected him to have literally spear and shield weapon, like something you equip, swing around, block with, maybe go full Spartan mode. And at first I thought it was a little disappointing that he doesn't have that, but actually after playing him I get it now. Styanax doesn't need one signature weapon, his entire kit is the weapon. Axios Javelin is the spear fantasy, Tharos Strike is the shield fantasy, Rally Point is the hold the line fantasy, and Final Stand is basically him saying, what if I became an airstrike but with abs? So that fucking surprised me. He isn't just visually themed around a warrior, he actually plays like one, and the music when you play his ult. I'm not gonna pretend this is a perfect build guide, this is not the ultimate Styanax setup or you're playing him wrong. I'm literally leveling him now and rediscovering the game. But even from just leveling, you can feel why people like this frame. His passive gives critical chance based on his total shields, including overshields, and it works especially well when you build around shields and overshields. Warframe's own Styanax page mentions that Rally Point and other abilities can help generate those overshields for the passive, and that is such a Warframe thing. You think you're just playing a cool spear guy, and then the game goes, actually your bravery shield man also has a crit economy. Of course he does, this is Warframe, even the Spartans have spreadsheets. But important thing is that it feels active. Some frames are powerful, but they make me feel like I'm just standing there pressing one button and watching the room disappear. Styanax makes everything feel more involved. You throw enemies around, you strip defenses, you give yourself and your squad energy. You jump into the air and rain down spears like you're auditioning for the most dramatic scene in 300. And the more I played him, the more I started thinking, this is exactly what a returning player needs. Not a giant checklist, not 50 things to farm, just one frame that makes you go, okay, one more mission. So naturally I took him to Hydron on Sedna, because in my brain Hydron is still the classic level in place. If you played Warframe years ago, Hydron is basically muscle memory. You get a new frame, you go to Hydron, you defend the objective, someone nukes the map, you pretend you contributed, everybody leaves after wave 10. By the way, wave 3, wave 6, what? But anyway, when I queued up a few times, it felt weirdly empty. A couple of times I loaded in, I was basically solo. And I had this moment where I thought, wait, did everybody leave Hydron and nobody told me? Am I the only Warframe equivalent of a guy walking into an abandoned shopping mall and saying, where is everybody? So I need an actual player to tell me this. Guys, in the comments, where are people leveling Warframes now? Is Hydron still decent? Is Sanctuary also not better? Is there some newer method that I completely missed? Because I'm trying to return properly and I don't want to return to 2020 habits with COVID happening in the backyard and wonder why the game feels empty. So the timing is also kind of funny because Styanax Prime is literally about to come out. Digital Extremes announced Styanax Prime access for June 17th and they described him as the master of shield and spear, which honestly is exactly the fantasy I'm getting from him right now. And on the same day, Jade Shadows Constellations is coming too. That update continues the Stalker story and adds new content around Sirius and Orion, so it actually feels like a pretty good moment to come back and participate instead of just watching Warframe from the outside. So I'm considering getting an affinity booster, not because I want to return to the game, make it into a homework again, but because if I am going to level Styanax, maybe farm or try in Prime version and catch up on some stuff before Jade Shadows, it might actually be worth it. But I'm trying to keep the comeback simple. One frame, one goal, one reason to log in tomorrow. So that's where I'm at right now. I came back to Warframe expecting to be overwhelmed. Instead, I actually find Styanax sitting in my arsenal, took him to Hydron and realized this might be the exact kind of frame that makes Warframe fun again. He's not exactly what I expected. I thought I was getting a spear and shield weapon fantasy, but what I actually got was kind of better, because with Styanax, the kit is the weapon. And honestly, that might be more interesting, so now I need help from people who actually know what they're doing in Warframe. Where should I level frames? Should I keep building Styanax? Should I wait for Styanax Prime? Should I jump straight into Jade Shadows when it drops? Let me know, because I'm generally trying to come back without burning myself out again. And if you're also a returning player, maybe don't try to catch up with the entire game in one night. Just find one frame that makes you want to play another mission. And for me, apparently, that frame is Styanax. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.